All right. Welcome back, everybody. Let's get right into it. GBPAUD. What do we see going on here? So, as I've talked about in the last few weeks, GBPAUD has had this significant range of consolidation. When a significant range of consolidation happens, orders stack up on both sides of the market. Maybe sounding like a broken record with that right now, but it's one of the three phases of what can actually happen in the market. You have the consolidation, where orders are accumulated in the market, accumulation. You have a manipulation in order to invoke traders to take a certain action. Then you have the profit release from that. So here we had a lot of the short demand settled, I feel like. And then from here, we came up and started taking the long demand on the other side, as well as the stop losses for all of the short holders that were holding them in these big macro positions. So what I think could be happening is, like I said, we have this accumulation. When orders are taken on both sides of the market, it can actually lead to what ends up being the true direction. I've been speculating on this one for a while, wanting to see some sort of dump to the downside. I don't know exactly how that's going to play out yet, but as we can see, we've pushed high, we pushed high again, and then we started creating these series of lower highs. In other words, areas where the volume was being trapped, areas where people were longing this, right? They were in FOMO, trying to catch what the market was doing. It's not the tool I was looking for. I want this one. They were trying to catch what the market was doing, and in doing so, orders got trapped, specifically from points like this. Okay, then we have a secondary series of this, where people trying to buy it long here, orders getting trapped, pushing lower. So price, we have now these orders stacking going in the downward direction, the bearish direction. So what I'm expecting, I know it's getting kind of late in the week. It is Thursday for me right now, and this is like pre-Asia session. I'd say like post-US session. So I usually don't like to trade unless we're in a session. This is like the gap time in the middle of the day I don't bother with. But I'm expecting some sort of push down. And if we do get that push down, we're going to see a point that ends up being lower than this. Because this was the trap move, so to speak, right? This is the part where the short was going to happen. Market makers already knew the short was going to happen. So they faked a short to get all the people who were thinking it was going to be short to sell. So they could buy their shares back, and then they could sell from a higher price, right? If they're selling from a higher price, they're going to make more profit. So that's what I think is going on. I think we are in for a lower low, and there's a lot of room for this to go lower, but time will tell. We shall see. I don't really expect this to do anything majorly, given that tomorrow is Friday. So we're going to see on this one, but I do think the trend has been settled. I think the direction might be apparent. All right. So next pair, USDJPY. Okay. This has been interesting. I've had to pull up the monthly chart on this one because we are at a new all-time high for this pair. How about that? It's pretty wild. Since, when was it? Down here, done at 127 back in January of last year. It was starting to appear like this pair could be making a new all-time high. And look at that. It has. Over a year later. So this just goes to show also that when you do analysis on macro charts, you can really see where price is going to go long term. And if you have the patience to actually stick with a bias over a long period of time like that, there's a lot of money to be made. Okay? Because like this higher high was really showing its colors like all the way back then. Even back to here. Like as soon as we had this move, and let me get this fib off of here. It's too much clutter. I want to make this really clear for you guys. Like, as soon as we had this specific move here, this was insinuating there was a possibility of a higher high happening. Macro. Okay? So, right, we had a move like this nice imbalance here. Orders trapped. Not going any lower than that. This was the point where there was enough volume from this to surpass this high. And that's what's so amazing about being able to do technical analysis on this macro time frame, like I was talking about. Had you at this point, because as soon as this candle happened, that would have given us an inclination that it's like, yeah, price is going to go higher. Look at that. That's like 100 and let's say we took even the top of this. So 133, give or take, and we're at 153. Huge move, huge potential for pips. And the thing is, it's not like you need to hold it that whole time either. It's not like you need to hold a trade for a whole year, right? You could do something like that. But just the fact is, like, a move like this gives us a bias for a long period of time. And then whenever you have moments where you have these pullbacks, it gives us opportunities for entries because we're already looking for this pair to go long, right? So that's what was so significant about here too. This was a tougher one to see just by the way that the price action played out, by the way that it formed. Maybe not on the daily. Actually, this daily looks pretty clean. But that'd be down here, right? We ended up forming this lower low position. We stabbed low. We took a bunch of volume. It would have been after we closed like this. That would have been an area to actually see if this would go higher. And this is the thing too. When we're at this point, and I've been talking about like this area for a long time now, when you get to a point in a pair where it's price discovery, we're about to make a higher high or a lower low that the pair hasn't been to yet before, a lot of confusion happens. So that's why, just like I was talking about in GBPAUD, we have this chop and we have orders building up on both sides of it. And then we have some sort of false move coming out of it. I don't think this is the same as GBPAUD because I don't think this was a false move. I think this was a stop hunt. I think this was trying to just pick up as much volume as possible and then push out of it, as opposed to like we saw with GBPAUD, pushing out to the top and then using that false move as a way to actually take liquidity on the opposite side so they could go in with a short move. But as we could see here, what I was mentioning last week was this was before this happened, this specific candle. Let me do this. You know, I'm chopping off some of the price, or hold on. With this pair, it gets like so big in the moves that, there you go. Sometimes you got to expand your screen quite a bit to make it look there. So when we had this area of chop right here, this is a weekly level, this is a weekly level, I was anticipating either a run-in with this weekly level, taking volume at this previous wick, or coming back all the way to this liquidity zone. So 1, 2, 3 areas where we could have actually used that as an entrance for this super bullish move. And this exploded higher. So you got to think in an area like this, so many people are confused here. They're wondering, is this going to go higher? Are we going to break this higher level? Are we going to go into it? Or are we going to dump off lower? Is this the high? Because like I said here, we broke this zone and then we came back up here and started accumulating again. Our job as traders is to figure out what's in the box, essentially. We're accumulating short orders, we're accumulating long orders. In this case, we have these zones that held out. We had this weekly level that held out. We had this wick that struck to the bottom, right to the bottom of this zone. So if I were to draw this out, just so I can make this super clear and apparent, we have this zone of accumulation. Okay? Outside of this zone of accumulation, and given here, let's assume this hasn't happened yet. So we just have these boxes of candles and price not wanting to go higher or lower than those. That means there's a whole bunch of people, let's say they were buying right here. Let's say they were thinking we're going to see new all-time highs. They put their stop losses down here. So if a whole bunch of traders, this for example's sake, were, let's say, buying right here, because this was the move I'd imagine a lot of people were going long on, and they're like, okay, I can put my stop loss right below this area right here. Imagine how many people did exactly that. They're thinking, yeah, this is going to go long. I'm going to catch the rest of that. Imagine how many people did that. So if traders are buying and their stop losses are down below this area, their stop losses is a forced sell order. And if it's a forced sell order, market makers are buying that back from them. So this means market makers are buying using these stop loss orders down here, right? So you got to think, like, the market's always going to try to make you think a certain something. Because if it can make you believe price is going to do a certain thing and then make you say, okay, well, it's not going to go below this level, look how strong this support has been, then traders are going to think they can put their stop losses down here. And if they're putting their stop losses down here, they were right about the position, but they're going to get stopped out, and they're going to end up being liquidity for the market makers. So they can buy those shares back, and they can just send the price flying. This is a really significant move. This is over 100 pips right here. So given that, I do think we have more higher highs to see in this pair. I would be genuinely flabbergasted at this point if we were to actually see dump off below this area. But I don't think this move is complete yet. I think we might have just gotten started above this area. If we end up seeing some huge wicks up here, then I'm looking at this area back where we were in this consolidation to be a sort of area of support. But the difference between typically like a stop taking event where price is going to falsify a move in order just to get traders to take action is it's usually not huge like this. Usually don't get a massive candle, given there are exceptions to that, such as this. But a move like this, think about it. We started all the way down here. We were pushing higher, pushing higher, pushing higher. This was a significant bull run that had already happened, and there was plenty of liquidity to be taken. So if you look at like the macro picture of this pullback was only, say, like a third of what the actual move was from here. So I'm saying, like, look at the size of these moves. If we were to measure this out, like, say, let's say take from the bottom here. Okay, so we had like a push here, right? Let's see if it'll let me move this box. Then we had a push here. Look how they're about symmetrical. They're about the same size. We had a push here, maybe slightly bigger than the last one. But then look, that more or less just came and corrected itself right back into that same area, okay? So it corrected one of those pushes. Now that it's done that, a lot of liquidity has been taken for this next area to push up. So I think this move is only about halfway from what it could be before we see any sort of pullback. But if we were to pull back right now, I think that'd be surprising. Again, the market will do whatever it wants. It doesn't listen to what I have to say. But that's just my logic on it right now. That's what I'm thinking. If you guys have any differing opinions or anything at all, let me know in the comments. And with that, I wish you a happy end of your week. I think there might be a great opportunity to take this long, maybe tonight or maybe going into next week, but I'm not looking to force it. I'm going to look for a good entry, a good area to maybe put some extra contracts on this, and we will see from there. Anyways, this 154, for those of you that have seen some of my older videos, I had an extension, a Fibonacci extension that was right above 154, and that would complete that original cycle. I don't have it drawn on this chart anymore, but I am still expecting 154, 155 to be taken. We're going to see. We're going to see about how high that gets, but I do think this move, we're only about halfway through before it starts correcting. But we'll see. Like I said, this pair can be extremely volatile sometimes. Sometimes it will just shoot up several hundred pips and make no corrections until we get to something like this, where we're going to see a significant area of chop and then maybe some liquidity being taken. But we will cross that bridge when it comes. So anyways, thanks for watching. I hope you learned something from this video. Happy trading and enjoy the rest of your week. Peace out.